Okay, let's get into it. So, like I said, everything I post on here, I want it to be educational because, at the end of the day, like I work for you guys. I want you to be able to learn as much as you can. So, I put out polls so you can vote on it and you tell me what you want, and then that's how I just go about it moving forward. So, I put up a poll yesterday regarding, if you want to see weekly recaps to, see me go into depth about each trade that I've taken. I know when I was a younger trader, that really helped me. It wasn't necessarily P&L. It was just like them dissecting the trade that they took, and it's so much that actually goes into it, right? Instead of kind of just buy and sell. So that was kind of my purpose with this. But I put up a poll just to see if that's what you guys wanted to see. We got the votes for doing so. So that's what this one will be. This is going to be our first weekly recap. And like I always say, if I'm ever too busy and I don't get these up or a trade recap up, you're always going to see everything on the live trading sessions. That's number one. Like the live trading sessions from start to finish is going to have everything. So just want to put that out there. So let's get into it. Decent week. Clean execution. You can see here on TradeZilla, we ended up having a $7,300 week. Really could have been a lot bigger, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this as well. I think it'd be pretty cool to kind of dissect, where I made my mistakes. I'm very big on journaling. There's no such thing as perfection. So, even on my winning days, I journal, and I'm always trying to fix something, right? Chase perfection. There's no such thing as perfection, but if you chase it, you'll achieve greatness. So that's something that I really believe in. So let's get into it. First trade of the week being Tesla. And the cool thing is, you correlate this with all the trades that I'm sorry, with all the trades that trade ideas that I put up in my pre-market plan videos. These are all the same trades that I'm giving you. They are all the same trades that I'm giving you. So let's get into it. On Monday, our first trade here was Tesla. So let's start off with breaking down this trade. Monday. Okay, so context matters. We knew coming into this week, Tesla is stuck in this range, right? So our key level coming into Monday was 466. It was either a pullback long off of 450 or a break and retest over 466. So actually, let me go on the daily here first. You can see we still have not really gotten a candle closure above 466, but we got close on Monday. We got really close on Monday, and we took our shot, right? Our job as traders is to take high probability setups, right? Anything else that happens when we enter the trade is out of our control. It's not our job to control the outcome. So you can see here, ended up getting right this break, waited for the retest, and I took my shot, sold into pretty much this high here, and it was a great sell. Now, the reason I want to go into this is because there's a couple of things here. There's a couple of things here. One, we knew we're risking right under 466. So I was very patient. I was very comfortable with this trade just because it was a Monday, so I wasn't really worried about contracts moving aggressive or theta being a problem, right? Wasn't worried about that at all. Now, this is why I always say it's very important to only trade a handful of tickers. I promise you that is the biggest advantage that you can have down the road. The reason for that being is you want to understand the personality of each stock, and each stock does have its own personality. So I'm looking at Tesla, and this all will correlate on why I sold, and I didn't even scale out because I got asked some questions like, hey, why didn't you scale out into this push? So on average, Tesla moves about maybe $15 to $20 in a single day. We opened up at 453, and the high day that we pushed into was 474. So I'm just gonna round it to about 21 bucks flat. So I already know Tesla has already exceeded its expectations. It's already moved, its average dollar amount, which is, $15 to $20. On this day, it was $20 to $21. So me knowing that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I get in here, I have to target the swing high because there's no way. I mean, Tesla's very extended. We just rallied to the upside. We just shot straight up. The 15-minute time frame is crazy bullish. There's no way, this thing is gonna, it can, but I know the probabilities, I'm sorry, excuse me, the probabilities of this thing running, what, 30, 40 bucks in a single day, all the way up into, the new all-time high, which is what we were waiting for. I'm like, I don't really think that that's a strong probability play right now. So I also got that conviction and confirmation on that due to this very slow grind on the pullback. Due to this very slow grind on the pullback. Momentum matters. Momentum is everything in trading. Well, in options, I would say. So waiting for this very slow pullback, and then buyer stepped up very aggressively. So if this pullback was a little bit faster, different story. But I knew, okay, we waited over an hour to get this pullback. We had the breakout, right? Keep in mind, these are 2-minute candles. Then we waited for this slow grind back, and then we entered our shot here, risking right under here. So we waited over an hour for this pullback. So that's already telling me, all right, this move is definitely extended. We're extremely bullish. We already hit its daily objective, which is roughly $20 in a single day. I don't think this thing is going to get above this and start going $30, $40 in a single day. So I understood market context. I understood Tesla's personality, and I sold as a whole into this high day. So let's go here to TradeZilla, and you can see here, I did not scale out. Did not scale out here. Really, my target, give me one sec. Really, my target was this swing high here. So like I always say, just one of the reasons why I love TradeZilla because you can just get, more of a clear picture. So my target here was 1528, which is really the high day. I sold into this momentum push, into the second high day push, and it was a solid sell, 13%. Profit target here was 128, right? So that would have been a $5,000 day. Keep in mind, I played two strikes out of the money, and I was looking for this high day, but I understood market context. I saw sellers starting to step in a little bit into the second high day push, and honestly, that was a great sell because after that, you can see, even if I held runners, this thing ended up pulling back and selling off. So very happy with this trade. Plan my trade, trade my plan. But the main lesson here, going into this one, is really understanding the personality of the stock. We hit $20 fairly quick. fairly quick. So that's how I knew, okay, I just want to sell this thing as a whole. We already waited over an hour for the pullback. We got this very big momentum push into the high day. I'm seeing sellers step in. Okay, I'm out of here. So that was really the first trade going into this week. This is the biggest lesson out of this week, which was this trade on Tesla. I broke this down in my live trading session and very upset how I managed this trade. And I made a mistake. And my mistake on this trade was, so I know that Tesla moves $20, $15 to $20 in a day. Tesla pays you very well in the underlying. So I typically play early in the week 2 strike prices out of the money. Why? Because if I can get into Tesla and it starts to trend and those contracts go from 2 strike prices out of the money and they start to climb in the money, as we know, we're going to get paid very nicely because those cons are now in the money, premiums are going up, we're getting momentum pushes in our favor, and I botched this trade. There was no reason for me to exit this trade. And the reason I got out of this trade is because I started to get a push in my favor, but those contracts were not moving. And I didn't like that just due to, I felt like I somewhat got a little bit of a later injury. So I didn't like that. But nevertheless, what do I always teach you? As long as we are above the key level that we are taking a trade off of, we stay in that trade. Our thesis is correct. And you can see here, my thesis was never incorrect. It was right on the dot, and I missed a very big payday, a very big payday. So let me go here to my notes with you, just so you can see. So we took our break and retest off of 450. I'll go into this trade. Took a good shot. I just didn't accept the risk. Right, that was me. I just didn't accept the risk. I did not like that the cons were not moving too well. But what did I do wrong? I did not give them time to play out. And this was an easy 6K day. So if the trade hasn't violated your reason for being in it, you have no reason to exit. And that's what I did. I did wrong. My first rule is I always have to hold until the first profit target, whether it's the swing high, high day, whatever market structure key level I'm targeting, I have to hold. So I really messed up this day. This was a big winning day. So that's what I meant when I say this week could have been way more than a 10K week. And it was this day, right? You got to look back on your winning days and see what you did wrong and what you can fix. And for me, it was Tuesday was the day that I wish I can get back. Go back, watch that live trading session. You'll see exactly, where I got in, where I exited. And it was a really good trade. I was patient, waited for the displacement, the retest, but I just didn't let it play out. So that's on me. So even if I would have waited, right? And the rule that I broke here was I didn't even wait for this thing to hit the high day. I got out very quick. We know how Tesla is. I don't want to mess around with that, but still, that's on me. So I didn't even wait for this thing to hit the high day. So that would have been 12.38. That would at least been a $3,500 trade if I just waited for the high day. As you know, I like to hold my trades. I don't really like to scale out. I like to milk them, and I want to see the high day turn into support. So let's say, because I was in this trade, let's say I waited until we got at least this push here before the pullback on the retest of our high day level, because that's how you know we're starting to trend, which you can clearly see. So let's say I waited until 1400, right? That's a 6K day. So that's what I mean where, I went wrong. As you know, I'm a big trader on RR. I don't care about scalps. I don't care about a quick 6%, 5%. So this is a terrible net return. This is terrible, 5%, because I know if I lose, my stop loss is going to be what, roughly 10%. So that's a terrible trade. That's not even a 1-to-1, at least on how I trade. So this is a day that I really wish I could get back, but I did my job, right? I traded my plan, I planned my trade, I journaled what I did wrong, and now I know what to do moving forward. So let's go break down this trade. We took Tesla twice in a row, and I broke this down saying, I really felt that Tesla was back. I felt Tesla was back. And of course, rest of the week, we ended up having to sell off. So you can clearly see here, I mean, bro, this is, like I said, go watch that live trading session, and you'll see it in real time. Price action develop. I remember like yesterday, I entered on this candle here. So I waited for the displacement. I waited for this candle to close. Once it did, you can see the wick of this candle means that the price did push back here. We went red to green. And honestly, that was a sniper entry. This was a really good entry. This was a sniper entry. There was no reason for me to get out of this. I wasn't even in that trade for a full 2 minutes. I just didn't like that my cons were 2 strikes out of the money. And as soon as I got into my trade, and it was this pop, I got in on this pop. So price pushed up here, and my contracts were not moving. And I think they were actually a little negative. And I was like, oh no, I do not like that. So that was really my reason for that being. But still, I broke my rule, which is as long as I'm risking off of 450, my thesis is valid. I was never incorrect, and this was a beautiful payday, right? We got the break out of the high day, we retested that, and then we moved higher. So this is a day that I really wish I can get back. I botched this day, I botched this trade. It ended up being a base hit type of day, I would say $1,000 day. But as you know, this thing could have easily been a 6K day. We see that just sitting into the high day, right? All I had to do was just wait for this little 4 minutes. But that's on me. That's my mistake. I journaled it. I moved on. So this was a trade that I really wish I can get back from this past Tuesday. Now, moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday was a cash day. There was nothing going on for me on Wednesday. I'll break that down. And it was a little bit of frustration for me on Wednesday. So let's see. This is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Okay, so our pre-market game plan here on really the overall market. I'm gonna show you on each name. On the overall market was we knew that we were waiting for the pullback to the 673. I've been preaching that for a week leading up until this day. Why? Because the overall market, we needed this pullback long retest. Remember, we gapped up last week, we kept moving higher. So this entire week was a pullback type of week, and we knew this was our key level here. I was very upset. Not upset, but I was frustrated. I was irritated because I knew this was a big payday that we were not able to get, but I stayed to my rules. I didn't FOMO, and it was a cash day, right? Discipline. But you can see we got that break, we got that retest, and we trended higher. We knew this was coming. We knew this market needed that. Now, the reason this was frustrating is because this happened all across the board. All across the board. Let's look at here on Wednesday, right? Look at Tesla. I'm sorry, Qs. Even though we didn't fully get that pullback, this is the 15-minute time frame. Look at these 15-minute candles. This thing trended higher all day. Look at the video, right? We ended up getting that break and retest. I broke this down as well. We ended up getting the break and retest on Wednesday. on NVIDIA during the pre-market, you can see right here, this is exactly what we were looking for, right? This was a breaker structure level. We knew this was the key level. We ended up getting that during pre-market, and this thing trended higher. I broke this down as well. NVIDIA was a great one because why? It broke through the high day. So we got the break, retested, broke through the high day, retested that, broke through our key level, retested that, and moved higher. This thing pushed all the way up here. So that was a big day, right? That was a big payday. And even AMD, I mean, look at AMD on Wednesday. Look at AMD on Wednesday. So for me, Wednesday was really a frustrating day. Our analysis on every single name besides Apple, because it was still in the channel, played out on the dot. I got the break, got the instant retest, and this thing trended higher, broke through another key level, and pushed all the way up to here. Like I always say, if we're near all-time highs and we're moving higher, you want to be in an entry down here before we get to the top of this range. So Wednesday was really a frustrating day. I felt like that was a big payday that I missed. I really do. But I stayed true to myself, true to my system, sat on my hands, did not let FOMO kick in. I'm human just like you. Did I want to take a trade and give myself a bunch of reasons on why I should exit here? I'm sorry, enter here and whatnot? Absolutely. But I didn't. I didn't. Be mindful of your emotions. That's something that I really broke down into these live trading sessions this week. But we saw all across the board. We got our setups. We knew we were looking for all these pullbacks in the market. All these names had gaps to fill. All these names had broke key levels and never retested, and they all played up on Wednesday. So Wednesday for me was a cash day. I knew I missed a big payday there, but I didn't FOMO into anything. Now moving on to Thursday, solid day on Thursday. Ended up getting a 17% trade on NVIDIA. Playing your trade your plan. One trade a day, win or lose, walk away. You know how strict I am. You know how disciplined I am, and this was a really big day. I ended up making a trade recap on this. I highly recommend going to watch that because this was a psychological day for me, and I'll explain why here as well. So the reason it was a psychological day is because, okay, let me go to, my trade was on NVIDIA, and I'll break down NVIDIA thoroughly as well. So here, right, we're on the 15. Let me explain to you why this was a psychological day for me. Now, I just broke down to you why I was a little frustrated that I just missed this move on Wednesday. I just missed this move. I knew this was coming. This was right off my plan. Great analysis, break, retest, continuation higher. Where did I go wrong on Thursday? And I broke this down, is I carried Wednesday's baggage into Thursday. There's no correlation. Wednesday is its own day. Thursday is its own day. So we ended up getting an instant dip and rip. You can see price pushed up to here, and I'm already in my head like, dang it, I missed it again. I missed this freaking trade again. I got it yesterday. I didn't get it. Today we got the instant dip and rip, and I missed it again. Now I have a very strict rule. I do not trade the first 2 minutes of market open. I do not trade the first 2 minutes of market open. So I'll go into this a little bit more thoroughly. This was Thursday. Okay. So like I said, go watch every live trading session. All this is, it looks fairly different, right, in hindsight, now that price has developed. But this thing looked like it was going to rip to the upside. And I ended up taking a long position anyway. Now, I'll explain here where my FOMO started to kick in, and I was justifying reasons to take a trade. So we got the instant dip and rip. I see strong buyer step up here. Strong buyer step up here. So I'm telling myself, okay, well, this is a good entry if I take it here, because then I can just risk under the lower day. It's still a very tight stop loss. But that's breaking my rule, right? That's taking a trade the first 2 minutes of market open. As much as I wanted this, that's a very aggressive entry. Now, this is where my FOMO kicked in a little bit, where I said, bro, you're kidding me? I missed it again. This green candle here, dip and rip, buyer step up, very aggressively pushing this thing to the upside. As you know, I do not trade the first 2 minutes of market open. Now, these are 2-minute candles. So when we got this push here, that candle wasn't closed yet. So it was 6:33 on the dot. Like I said, I broke this down in the trade recap. It's this individual trade. I recommend going to watch that. And my FOMO's kicking in, like, do I take it? Do I take it? And I say to myself, no, it's too aggressive. I even say that in the live trading session. It's too aggressive. This is at 6:33, market just open. We're only 3 minutes into market open. This is a very aggressive entry with the size that I'm going in. So I said, okay, if this thing wants to pull back again, I would take my shot. If this thing wants to pull back again, I would take my shot. We ended up pulling back here. I waited for strong buyers to step up here, and we got this push into the high day. I saw sellers step in. The overall market was pulling back very aggressively, and that was actually the reason why I did not hold and I did not scale out. As you know, I don't trade my P&L. I'm always looking for more moves, for the bigger move, for continuation. But context matters. So I'm looking at the overall market, and that also helps me determine to stay in my trade or not. I believe there's no such thing as a perfect buy or a perfect sell. But this was pretty much the peak sell. This was the second sell. This was the second push in a high day, and after that, you can clearly see we ended up trending lower. And we knew coming into every day this week, this 195.60 was our key level. This is a breaker structure. If we're under this, I've been drawing that down the entire week. We're bearish bias. If we get a pullback long here, we're bullish bias on this thing. So if you go to Wednesday, the day before, that's exactly what happened. We got the break and retest off the key level pre-market, and this thing ended up trending and pushing higher. So we weren't that far away, all-time highs. We opened up at 197. We ended up pushing up to 202. So I'm thinking, the same thing is going to occur here on this day. We ended up getting an instant dip and rip buyer show up very aggressively, push this thing higher. But context matters. I saw the market was very heavy. All the other tech names were very heavy, and that's why I did not scale out. So I'm very happy with the sell. You can see here, didn't even scale out. I did not scale out here. I was looking for at least a high day. I was managing this on the 5-minute time frame. Seller started to step in very aggressively. I sold as a whole, 17% trade, super solid. It was a Thursday, right? I played one strike price out of the money. So on Thursday, those contracts are going to move more aggressively. So very happy with this trade. Plan my trade, traded my plan. I wasn't looking to hold. I understood market context. I didn't want to be greedy, but the biggest day thing about this day was the psychology. I took yesterday's baggage from Wednesday into Thursday, and it really messed up my head. But what saved me, sticking to my rules and being disciplined. Now, end of the day with Apple. Apple's not ready. Apple's not ready, but I took my shot. Something that I always say is our job as traders is to control our risk and our emotions. Anything else is out of our control. It's not our job to control or predict the outcome of a trade. And that's where I went wrong on Tuesday. I tried to control the outcome of a trade on Tesla. So that being said, we knew coming into this week, Apple, all of this week, look at Apple, still stuck in this channel, still stuck in this channel. We got it on Thursday. I thought we had it again on Friday. I took my shot on Friday on a 0 DTE. I cannot sit around and mess with that. But I took my shot. Anything else that happens when I enter that trade is out of my control. So let's go here. Like I said, this is all live trading sessions, so you can go back and watch these. We know, actually, let me break this down. This entire week, our game plan on Apple was a long over 271.40 or a pullback long off at 264.05. The reason for that being, you can see we have a mini gap fill. We broke this level, but we never retested this. So we still need this pullback long here or a break and retest above this 271, targeting all-time highs. Straight up equals straight down. A lot of thin volume in there, so it's very comfortable taking that shot. It sets up on Friday. Beautiful displacement. I waited for the candle to close. I entered on this hammer stick candle. I managed this on the 5-minute. I really tried to hold. I thought some momentum was going to come in. Never did. I had to get out for a very small win. I'm trading 0 DTEs. I can't sit in that. I can't hold that. I can't afford to do that. I'm not a reversal trader. The trend is your friend. And I took a good shot 7 times, 8 times out of 10. This is going to work out and this is going to play. If we go here to the following day, the previous day, we ended up getting it. Break, retest. I already had taken a trade on NVIDIA. I'm very big on being one and done. Right, break, retest. You're risking right off the 271.40. You're looking for this high day. You ended up getting a push and making a new high. Beautiful trade, beautiful execution if you were able to catch that. So we all knew, this is still our key level to watch. We're bullish bias on this name. Ended up getting the break, clean displacement, instant retest. But there's no follow through. There's nothing I can do about that. So let's go here on TradeZilla. And you can see I scaled down tremendously, right? On Fridays, I'm not looking to make a lot. I'm not looking to be greedy. I understand these contracts move very volatile. You can easily make 20, 30%, 40% in a single momentum push on any of these tech names on the underline. So it was really a base hit. I was looking for it. And like I said, Apple just wasn't ready to set up. Now, where did I get this number? This 9,500. This was just targeting the previous day high. Let me go here. Let me go to the 15-minute. That was me targeting the previous day high. I'm thinking, okay, we finally broke above. We got a good momentum push. 272.29 was the high. If we can get to 273, that's a very big payday. That's 100% return on those comps. So you can see, right? It looked promising. Let's not forget, we started the day trending higher, right? Pull back, each dip is getting bought up very aggressively, and once again, we broke above that key level. We can never get it. Pretty much sold kind of into this high day push. Was looking for it, but I couldn't hold that. Just not on the 0, and it was a good sell. Why? Because ended up selling off, and I definitely would have had a very big loss if I was looking for more continuation. So just understanding market context, understanding the environment, the situation. We're trending, so it was a good shot. You can see we pulled back right at market open, and this thing just trended all day. Well, not all day, but for the start of the morning. So I'm thinking, okay, we can get over this key level. We have momentum on our side. We get this push. This thing is going to continue higher, but it never did. See, entered here, took my small profit there, and these stocks were up, kind of. I was down a little bit, 79. The max was up almost 1,000, and I tried to hold. I really did. Pulled back, and those contracts lost their value pretty quick. I said that in the live trading session, so I had to get out of that. So hope this helps. Hope the breakdown of each trade that I took help. But 2 solid days to really learn from for me is Tuesday. I messed this day up. This was a really big day. This could have been 6,000 plus day on its own on Tesla. So that was a big day that I messed up. Stuck to our rules. We didn't FOMO into anything on Wednesday. We never got a retest of our key levels, so we don't take a trade. And even though this was a big winning day, the biggest day of the week, this was a psychology day for me because I took Wednesday's baggage into Thursday. I broke that down very thoroughly on that trading recap, so go watch that. But other than that, clean execution, right? One trade a day. Every single trade that I took was off my key level. Every trade that I took was with the overall higher time frame context. Bullish. See here, call. Tesla, call. NVIDIA, call. Apple, call. No shorts. The trend is your friend. We are trading with the higher time frame. So if all these names are remaining bullish on the higher time frame, then guess what? I'm just looking for pullback longs because the trend is your friend and the dip is your friend. So hope you're able to learn from this. I'll continue to do these at the end of every week. I can't promise that I'll get them each and every week, but like I always said, whatever I don't put up, you're gonna get everything in the live trading session anyway. So hope this helps. Hope you're able to learn from it. Let's keep the ball rolling. And going into next week has absolutely nothing to do with this week. This week is over with. It's the past. My job is to learn from it, journal, see what I can do differently, what I can change, what I can improve on, and then going into next week, just rinse and repeat my system. And like I've said before, I promise you, every successful trader, they wake up every day and they do the exact same thing every single day. So hope you enjoyed this. Let's keep the ball rolling, and I will have the next educational video out on Wednesday.